And we're live. Welcome to Don't Be Coy. I'm your host, Unkle Lew. And today I have the honor, pleasure, and the utmost appreciation to have with me today, Mr. Vincent Ho. Vincent, thank you for being on the show, sir. How are you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing great. It's my pleasure to be a part of this wonderful podcast of yours.
Thanks, man. How has your week been?
Week's been good. I just finished working about 8 days straight. Now that I started a new company, so now I'm off for a week straight. So I'm just enjoying the weather, enjoying life, as much as I can.
I feel that, man. Well, for the people at home, man, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
All right, let's start right at the very beginning then. I was born in New Orleans, Louisiana. And then about when I was about 6 or 7 years old, my parents wanted to get away from, the big, busy city life. So they decided to move to small town, Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Went to a private school for the first few years when we moved here. And then went to Oak Grove. That's where I met my buddy Melvin Smith over here. Graduated from Oak Grove. We kind of went our separate ways for college. I went to University of Southern Miss, got me a business degree. Didn't do much with it. Worked for my family's business we had a nail salon. So worked there for a few years. And in 2020, I decided to go back to school for chemical processing. Had the idea I wanted to work in an oil refinery. That didn't pan out. Well, at least not yet, but I found another job in a chemical plant. And I started that back in mid-December. And then I'm loving it. I don't regret it at all. It's what I wanted to do. It gives me a lot more free time, more freedom to do what I want to do in the spare time.
Yeah. So before we talk about like the things that you do in your spare time, which I really think is really interesting, man, like I want to hear more about this new role that you're doing, like this chemical processing type of work. Like what exactly is that like?
With the company I work for is Xeon Chemicals. They make a product called Hydrin. It is a high temp rubber that are used in cars, like the gaskets and hoses under the hood, things like that. It's a worldwide company, but the main headquarters is actually in Tokyo. But we've got a very small facility here. They got a plant up in Louisville, Kentucky, and a plant in Texas. I think Pasadena, Texas.
Okay. That's cool, man. Is it kind of stressful or anything?
As long as everything's running smoothly on the plant, like the whole processing part runs smoothly. I mean, it can be a boring day. And I learned that boring days are good days.
Yeah, no.
You don't want a non-boring day because that means things are messing up, things are going wrong, things are breaking. So like when you're able to sit at your computer and just monitor everything's going good, that's a good day. Because we're on shift schedule. So we're there for 12 hours out of the day. Because
Oh man, I didn't know you were doing 12-hour shifts and you were doing for 8 weeks straight?
No, 8 days.
Oh, 8 days straight. Okay.
Yeah.
I was about to say, but still 8 days for 12 hours. That's a long time, man.
Yeah, well, I mean, I say that is because, each hitch is like either 3 or 4 days. So, I would have like 2 or 3 days in between that are off. Well, I picked up a couple extra shifts because I had to cover for somebody. Or like I started working with one of my buddies. He's got a landscaping business and he's having trouble finding help right now. So he asked me, he's like, hey, on your off days, you want to come work for me? I could use extra help. So, I did that too. But working for him, I only worked for like maybe 5-6 hours, if that.
Yeah. Okay.
Just something extra because I don't do well sitting at home.
I know, man. So as long as literally I've known you, you've always like gotten your hands in doing multiple things. Like you've been like an audio technician, you've been into golfing, you've been a marksman, like literally been a marksman, not somebody who just like collects weapons for fun, but like also doing like the shooting competitions. Like as you were saying beforehand, your family has a business and stuff, and Like you have those nails technician skills. You've been a chef. Like, I guess the question for me that's always been is like, you've had all these varied interests. Like, what got you started in this whole idea of like finding hobbies? Like, how do you find these things?
I started with my first love, if you will, which is fishing. I've been fishing since I was still in diapers. My dad has pictures of me holding a fishing rod when I was 2 years old. And I didn't have one of those, Spider-Man, a Snoopy kitty rods either. I had a full-on 7-foot spinning reel and rod combo, catching any fish between anywhere from a pound to 15 pounds. We've always been saltwater fishermen too, so, you never know what you're going to catch.
Right.
So, like, that's my main hobby. That would always be my number one hobby. My second hobby is the shooting sports, basically, if you will.
I feel that.
When I was younger, in middle school, high school, I loved to play a video game called Counter-Strike, first-person shooter.
Yeah.
It was fun. I've always been interested in guns, whereas my family never were. My dad had a gun, of course, for like self-protection. That's about it. But I wanted to get into the more stuff, more rifles, pistols, somewhat tactical, some hunting guns, things like that. I just started hunting, really hunting this year.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get, since it was my first year, I didn't get many chances to go out and kill anything.
Yeah.
But just being out there in nature and the thrill of just sitting there, seeing something that might walk out, might not, it's the thrill of it,
Yeah.
And like I said earlier, it's like I don't do well sitting at home.
No,
I don't like sitting in front of the TV unless it's an hour before bed. If I'm at home, I'm piddling around doing something with any of my hobbies: fishing, guns, cooking, golf, cleaning the golf clubs, things like that. Speaking of, when I was golfing today, I saw more deer on the golf course today than I have seen all hunting season.
Because it's not hunting season anymore, man. That's why.
What kind of crap is that?
They already know. They know when it's hunting season, because during hunting season and all that kind of stuff, they're like all hiding and jump.
Yeah.
I feel like the best time to get in is during
I literally
rutting
made
season.
eye contact with 2 does.
Oh, literally?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Like, we were staring at each other. I mean, we're so close, we could have pretty much whispered in each other's ears.
And you couldn't do anything about it.
I couldn't do nothing about it.
Yeah. So what exactly do these hobbies do for you, man? Like you were saying, you don't necessarily like just being at the house doing nothing, and you're not like a big TV watcher like myself. Like what do these different hobbies bring for you? Because it's like a lot of different varied things.
Like with fishing, I love it because it's relaxing. I don't have to think about much. All I have to think about is what kind of bait I want to use, because the fish aren't biting yet, or where do I want to fish at this day or next day or whatever. And it's one of those things that, like, it gives back. It puts food on the table. So I don't mind spending, $50, $100, $200 to go fishing, because to me, that's food on the table, food in the freezer.
Yeah.
Now, I did, with the shooting sports, competition shooting, I did somewhat give up on that. I stopped shooting as much, mainly because ammo was hard to find, and where prices had gone up when you could find it. And it was one of those things that did not give back as much, but I got enjoyment out of it. So in a way I did. And it does help me keep my defensive skills up to date. Because it is a perishable skill. Because I think it was like 3 months where I didn't even fire a weapon. And I went to the range after those 3 months. My actually had diminished a little bit.
Mm.
And as far as golfing, that's one of those things that, like, it's just literally just for fun. I get enjoyment out of it, and that's about it. Yeah. And I mean, it's one of those sports where, like, it's one of those hobbies where I can drink and still play. You know what I mean? Because I mean, I can't drink while I shoot competition or hunt.
Yeah,
that's just not going to work. Can't do that. It's illegal. I can drink and fish, but I don't like doing that because you're out there in the hot sun all day, and like it just gives me a headache. It makes you more dehydrated, so that just doesn't work.
Yeah. No, man. I think it's funny whenever you were talking about the shooting competitions and stuff like that. Like, especially when you were talking about how your accuracy had diminished a little bit. You know, one thing that I think that I don't know if you've ever like noticed about yourself as far as being a perfectionist and always wanting to make sure that every little thing that you do is just done perfectly.
Yeah, it's the competitive side of me.
Yeah.
I can show up to a match, and I'll get beat up by some of these older guys, but they're also shooting, you know, fancier guns. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go home and give me one of them too. Show up at the next match, and I'm right there with them or beating them, you know.
Yeah.
And it's just like when we go fishing, it's like, oh, you caught 10 fish, I'm gonna catch 11. You know, that's kind of turning everything into a little bit of competition. But with golf, I'm like, if I hit it bad, I hit it bad. I mean, there's no reason to stress about it.
Yeah. I think that that's really interesting though, man. So like, how do you define like your self-care? Cause like, you know, you do all these different kind of activities, obviously, cause you like it and stuff. But like, when you think about doing something that fills your cup or doing something that like relaxes you or calms you down or whatever, like how do you define self-care?
That is a very good question. I honestly don't really know how to answer that.
No worries, man. I mean, like, I think let's explore that for a little bit. So I think about all the different things that you've like done in your life and all the different things that you've been through. And like, even whenever you mentioned about, like you got your business degree, but you haven't really done much with it. Like, I think about the things that have remained consistent in your life, like especially fishing. Like even with that, you talk about that with so much more pride than I ever really hear you talk about like literally anything else. And so like, I wonder as far as just like when it comes to yourself and like filling your cup, what is the things about just like life in general that would fill your cup that fishing brings into it? Like, I know you talked about how it's relaxing and things of that nature, but like, you know, you don't fish like anybody else's fish. You don't just go to a lake and just have your reel out there. You do like ocean kayaks, you have like, you go saltwater fishing, you do all these different like aspects of it that it's not as simple as someone saying, oh, okay, I'm just going to go down to the reservoir and go fishing. And you're a person that would do that. And that's literally like an hour and 30 minutes away. So it's just like self-care for you. Like self-care, when I think about it, I think about things that make me happy and things that like fill my cup and like make me feel whole. And so it's just something about,
I get what you're saying now. So I guess, I mean, fishing does do all those things for me. And it's like I said earlier, I get something out of it. It's relaxing. It brings me joy. It's one of those things that are like, it's one of those things that I feel like I need to do. Like you'll hear me all the time saying like, I need to go fishing. But you won't ever hear me say that about really anything else. Because I guess it was one of those things where I literally done it all my life. That's what and like it was one of those things that my family always did. Well, mainly just me and my dad and my mom would go every now and then when I was younger. But it's just a time that things are just simple. You ain't got to really worry about much. And yes, I will make an hour and a half, 3-hour drive just to go fishing.
Yeah. Anything else that does something similar to that? Like, as far as like what you're willing to go the distance for?
I mean, I'm willing to go the same distance for, you know, my family, my loved ones, my friends. I mean, what was it? Probably last year, I was sitting at home doing some homework. And my buddy called me. He was like, "You busy?" I was like, "Yeah, I mean, I'm doing some homework. I'm sitting on an online class right now." He's like, "Well, my truck's broken down." I was like, "All right, where you at?" "I'll be there." And he told me he was probably an hour and 20 minutes away. I was like, "I'll be there. Send me the part that you need for your truck and I'll bring it to you. No questions asked, you know?"
Yeah.
It's things like that. It's like, I take care of my friends and family because I know they would do the same for me. So like I get enjoyment out of that.
Yeah.
Peace, things like that.
No, I feel that. So like, I guess another good way of looking at it is like, for these other different hobbies that you've had like over through the years, like whether it's golfing, like you were saying, like it's just so carefree, you know what I'm saying? Like you can drink and like shoot the breeze with your friends and things of that nature. Like with the hunting, it brings your competitive side. What about like being like an audio technician or like the music and like all those kind of things that you were into? Like I wouldn't necessarily call it like construction, but it was like something about doing something with your hands that you seem to enjoy.
Yeah, I mean, you make a good point. I do like working with my hands, which is why, like, with my old job, basically, I was a nail technician. Yes, I was working my hands, but I was also, like, not being used to my potential, you know? Whereas this new job as a chemical operator, I feel like I am used to my full potential. I'm using my brain a lot more. I'm being more active. I'm working with my hands. I'm working with tools, things I did not used to do, but also things I like to do. Like I like building things. I like working with wood, just being, you know, creative in that aspect. But at the same time, like if you show me what you want and I can build it, I will.
Yeah. Huh.
As far as the audio thing, building subwoofer boxes back in the day, that was just a hobby that I had. It didn't last very long, honestly. It probably lasted maybe 2 years. And I realized after those 2 or 3 years, I was like, this is a money pit. I don't get anything out of it other than like a few minutes of enjoyment driving down the road.
Yeah.
Showing off to my friends. But that was about it. It was one of those things like it was just a money pit. You had nothing back, didn't do anything other than that. So I gave that up pretty easily.
Yeah. No, I think that speaks a lot of volume whenever you have something that like it has to give something back to you, because it's like when it comes to like hobbies or your job or whatever it may be, you're pretty much putting your all into it. And so it's just like you want to get some of that in return. So it's just like if you're not getting that, then it's just like, what's the point?
Exactly.
Yeah, man.
That's why like I said earlier, how golf really doesn't do anything for me, doesn't give back. It was just something to do on a nice day where I can't fish, where I can't hunt, where I can't go to a shooting competition or something like that. It's just something to do. But at the same time, I'm like, I'm never like, dang, I need to go golf. I don't ever say that.
I think that's how you lost your putter, man.
5, 6 weeks.
Yeah.
But I told you earlier, I was like, I'm missing my putter. I don't even remember the last time I used it. So like, you know, I kind of ruined my golf game today. I was putting with a 7-iron.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that did ruin your golf game.
Yeah. First hole, clean drive.
Yeah.
Second shot was a 4-iron right in front of the green. Chip shot onto the green. Reached for my putter, not there. I'm like, well, all right. Thought about just using my foot, you know, to putt, but
nah. I'm pretty sure someone would call that cheating.
Well, I was playing by me and Hannah were playing. She drives in the cart and drinks while I play.
Y'all are really cute, man. Speaking of which, do y'all have any hobbies that y'all do together?
Well, I was fortunate because her family pretty much grew up fishing. Her grandfather that was his main love, was fishing. His second love was guns. So I got real lucky. Any hobby I do, she will do it with me, except for the shooting competition stuff. She's gone to a few matches with me just to watch, you know, but she hasn't actually been behind that timer yet.
Yeah. What is that like, man? Like having your partner engage in what makes you whole? Like, is that bring it to another level, or what's that like for you?
Honestly, I love it. Because, like, I'll see guys all the time, either, you know, at the docks or at a competition or something, they're complaining like, oh, my wife had to do something so my wife could let me go, or my girlfriend could let me go and do this and that, you know? I'm like, well, I'm fortunate because mine comes with me, so I don't ever have to ask for permission.
Yeah.
It's more like, hey, I'm going. You want to go too? or like we're going kind of deal. Like we are going.
Yeah, man. So like,
I'm very fortunate in that aspect.
Yeah, no, you definitely are fortunate, man. I think that like that's just like a real beautiful thing to have something that means something special to you and be able to share it with those, like you were saying earlier, with your dad. Like this is something that you and him used to do and stuff.
Exactly. I mean, when the weather's nice and warmer, I'll call my dad and be like, hey, you know, it's supposed to be nice weather this weekend. You want to go ride down the coast, go fishing? He'd be like, all right, what time you want to go? He's like, I could tell him 6, 7 in the morning, or I can tell him 1 or 2 in the afternoon. He's ready to go.
Yeah.
He'll actually call. If I tell him 6 a.m., he'll call me at 5:30 and be like, hey, where you at? I'm ready. Because I think it was a couple years ago. I was like, when I was taking him to the coast to go fishing, I was like, Dad, you know, growing up when I was younger, you took me fishing all the time. So now it's my chance, my turn to take you. He's fully capable of driving and everything himself. It's just that, you know, it's easier if he has people to go with him.
Right.
Especially me, because I pretty much do everything for him. Because he's handicapped on one side of his body. He had a stroke probably 7, 8 years ago. So he can walk and everything, and he's just very slow. And his movement in his left hand isn't the same as, say, it's not fully functional. But he can still cast and reel and everything, but he can't take the fish off the hook.
Yeah.
So that's where I come in. I, you know, do those things for him. Because I know how to fish, and I know how he likes to fish. But his fishing style is different from mine. But it's the fact that I know how he likes to fish, I make it easier on him. Like my brother-in-law, he'll take my dad sometimes when like I'm at work or something, especially at my old job. And like my dad always complained because my brother-in-law didn't know what to do.
That's some real beautiful.
And like my mom, her passion right now is growing trees, like fruit-bearing trees. Mm-hmm. So she'll call me, you know, every couple months. She'll be like, hey, whenever you're free, mind going to Lowe's and buy me some dirt? And it's not just 1 or 2 bags of dirt either, bro.
Right.
I went and bought her 20 bags of cow manure yesterday.
Oh, wow. Well, y'all still have that big backyard, don't y'all?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're actually working on a makeshift greenhouse for her before winter.
That'd be dope. What kind of trees she got?
It's all fruit-bearing trees from California. They flew over to California a few months ago, and she brought back like $1,000 worth of branches. Yes, branches. They're literally fucking branches.
I wish you could see my face right now. Like you and your family and the way that y'all like go all out. You know what I'm saying? Like I remember when you were talking about y'all remodeled your house and I was like, oh, okay, cool. Literally lifted the roof in that thing and like I don't know how y'all did it, but y'all turned that house and made it look like it was a mansion on the inside. I was just like, whoa, what? How did y'all do this?
Yeah, we actually didn't do. We had, had a contractor that did that.
Right.
That was Mom's vision. She said she wanted it done, and somehow it happened.
Yeah.
Even the contractor was like, I don't know if this is gonna be possible, but he made it happen.
Yeah. No, I feel that. So I'm curious about this role now, man. Like, what actually? I know you were talking about like getting into like the oil refinery and all that kind of stuff, but like, what made this transition to go from like the nail technician and thinking about like, hey, I'm not utilizing my full capacity. And like, I remember when we were younger, things change, obviously. I remember you were talking about owning hotels and casinos and things of that nature. But like, whenever you told me that you were getting into like oil refineries or like chemical processing, like, where did that come from? That was totally different for me. Like, I'd never heard of it.
My family has always been business owners. So, I got to work in each of those businesses. And probably a couple of years ago, I realized like owning a business is not for me. Especially, I'll take that back. I would like to own a business, but it's going to be a type of business where I don't have to work there every single day.
Yeah.
Kind of deal. But like, say at the nail salon, I was working 6 days a week,
Yeah.
pulling, what is that? Averaging about 10 hours a day, 9 or 10 hours a day. So let's just say 60 hours a week.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much doing that ever since I got out of high school. And probably after I graduated in 2015, I was there full time. So I literally was working 60 hours a week. And not much to show for it, you know? Especially like I had no time off to do anything I wanted. Yeah, I was able to take days off, but like I'd have to schedule that in advance.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then with this new endeavor, it was me and my buddy were talking about it. We were like, hey, man, we need to find something else to do. Because he was kind of working offshore. He was working for Sea-Trax. It's a crane company that they use on the rigs out there.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I hate being away from home, you know, for a week at a time or every time I go, I don't know when I get to come home. Things like that.
Yeah.
Or he have to travel a lot. So we were just sitting there talking, and his father-in-law was actually the one that got us into the chemical processing deal, because that's what he did, or he does now.
Yeah.
Then I looked into it, and I was like, it's something I could do, you know? One is I only work 6 months out of the year for the company. 2, I have more free time. 3, I make more money. So it's kind of like a no-brainer.
Yeah.
So I was like, my first paycheck, I think I worked 6 days, and I get paid every 2 weeks. My first paycheck was just as much as I had made at the nail salon working 12 days.
Mm. Why do you think that is? Is it because of like economy of scale and all that kind of stuff? Because it's like, you know.
Well, with the nail salon, what it was is we worked on commission. So unless you work or you're getting clients in constantly, you're not getting paid.
Yeah.
Whereas with this company, with any like salary or hourly wage type job, you're getting paid whether you're busting your ass or taking a dookie. You know?
Yeah. No, I totally understand.
Plus, on paper, I'm supposed to work 84 hours every pay period.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, anything over 80 is overtime, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that helps out a lot. So, like, basically in 2 weeks, instead of me working 120 hours, I'm only working 84 hours and making just as much.
Yeah.
With room to grow, because I can, you know, if someone needs me to cover, I can cover, and that's all overtime.
Mm.
So basically, money was a big factor. Money, and then all the extra time off that I have now, that was the biggest factors.
Yeah. What's it called? Do you still think about like I know, I feel like I know you as a person, and like whenever you're in a place like that isn't just it. Like your gears are always turning and stuff like that. Like, what do you kind of see as far as like the future plan that you want to do with this chemical processing?
I mean, eventually, I'm just going to try to work my way up, you know, because right now, what I am is a operator. Next step up was going to be senior operator. Next step up is going to be lead operator. After that, if you choose to go further, you can work in what we call corporate. You'd be in the front offices. Okay. So like my goal is just to, you know, try to reach these goals by a certain amount of time. Like right now, they give me 2.5 years to do my 5 certifications.
Yeah.
That means I'm fully certified to work in any part of the process. Well, I'm trying to do that in 1.5 years. Get to senior operator by 5 years.
Yeah.
And maybe by 10 years, I'll be lead operator.
That's interesting. Like what, so now I'm just curious thinking about like what is it about the organization, or what is it about that makes you want to work your way up with it?
The money. I'll be honest with you, the money. In a lead tech position, honestly, they don't do a whole lot, but at the same time, if something happens, it all falls on them. Yeah. So like it can be very stressful. I know it's very stressful, honestly, because I see my lead tech stressing all the time. And honestly, it looks like it's aged them. For the past 3 months I've been working with them.
Well, that's not good, man. I don't think that's what you want for yourself.
Yeah, but I mean, he says he's been there for 24 years now. He said, I mean, I lost my train of thought.
It's okay. Take your time, man. You were
So
talking about
basically,
the lead
the reason
tech.
why I
And
want that lead tech job is because, like, it's the same schedule and everything. It's more money, and it'll help me in that position. It'll help me, provide the life I want to live, provide for my family, be where I want in life.
Yeah.
That was one of those main things I decided to switch careers to, because I realized doing nails wasn't going to get me there.
Mm-hmm.
Working so much and not having time for anything and making what I was making. Yes, I was busy all the time. I liked what I do. I loved my clients even more. But like I said, it just wasn't going to get me to where I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
And this is one of those careers, like, I already know for a fact it's going to get me there. Heck, I just looked at my 401k was a couple days ago.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't never had that in my life. So now.
I totally understand. That is a powerful thing to see whenever you look at your 401k and you're just like, wow, like that's mine.
And like, that's something the company does, they set it up all for me. I didn't have to lift a finger.
Mm-hmm. No, man.
So like, I know that the company is looking out for my future, what's in my best interest, And like I say, it's just going to get me to where I want to be.
Yeah, I feel that, man. So let me ask you this then. What you think you're going to do, like, in between the time, like now and then? Like, I know you always focus on, like, your personal life and stuff like that. Like, what do you think is going to be the next big thing for you now?
Probably get married, buy a house, or build a house.
Ooh. What's it called,
Give
man?
me a boat.
Yeah, when you gonna get your boat for fishing?
Shit. Your guess is as good as mine right now. I got a lot of other things that, need to come before that.
No, I totally understand that, man.
Specifically, the marriage and the house.
You thinking about getting married anytime soon?
Yeah. You gonna be at my wedding, right?
Of course, if you invite me.
Motherfucker, you better be at the damn altar next to me.
Of course, man. Of course.
You're talking about an invite.
Of course. What's it called, man? I really appreciate just the time to be able to talk to you, man, and catch up and, like, hear all this kind of stuff. And I'm really happy.
I mean, I know we'll go months without talking, but I love the fact that we can pick up where we left off just as easily.
Of course.
Because, we're adults. We have careers. We have a life. And, we make time for each other when we can. Yeah,
I mean, it's kind of just like you were saying, like, as far as fishing with your dad and, like, what that's like and stuff. Anytime that I talk to you, it reminds me back of, like, simpler times when being back in Hattiesburg and just growing up and just going cruising, like, listen. Exactly.
Me and Hannah were just talking about that a couple weeks ago. I was like, man, me and Melvin, back then when we were in high school, we got bored. We didn't, go party and things like that. We might went to the bowling alley, but other than that, we would just hang out, go cruising around, listen to music, just talk about life.
Exactly.
Simpler times back then.
Simpler time. But, that's what I'm trying to get back to, man. Like, at the end of the day, like, I feel like just these past 10 years, just, like, thinking about now going into this new chapter of my life and, like, thinking about all the things that are important to me, just like what you were saying, like marriage, family, friends, career, like, really and truthfully, all I want is just a simpler time. More than anything, like, boring sounds beautiful. We're gonna get back to that point. Oh, yeah.
It's not going to be, anytime soon, but we'll get there eventually.
Yeah. Right now is grind season, and it's nasty out there, man.
See, I live by a motto right now, and I say it to myself every day. It's hustle while you can. Mm-hmm. I'm actually getting some stickers made up if you want one.
You selling stickers, man?
I ain't selling stickers. I'm giving them out.
Oh man, you gonna put them at the gas stations?
I'm gonna put it on my hard hat and everything.
Oh man, I would love one of those. I'm gonna put it on my water bottle.
Because to me, it's like, yes, enjoy life and everything, but like at the same time, money's to be made. If you can do it, do it, but also balance your life outside of work if you can.
Yeah.
Get what I'm saying?
No, I get what you...
Like, there's certain areas, like, I don't like sitting at home, especially when, you know, I'm off this whole week, so I'm trying to find something to do.
Yeah. I'm surprised you're not going fishing.
Well, I mean, it's kind of cool. It's nice weather, but the wind's blowing about Mach 80 on the coast right now.
Really? Yeah, I heard that the weather was bad down there. What's going on?
I don't know. It's this time of the year. From usually by January till probably mid-March, the wind is just crazy on the coast.
Okay. Would you still ever move down there?
I ain't scared either, but the wind affects the fish so bad that it's not worth trying.
Yeah.
But like, I've gone fishing in a tropical storm before, no problems.
You wild, man. What was that like?
It's kind of scary. Was it like 2 years ago? I was down in Venice fishing a 3-day tournament.
Yeah.
It was basically storming all 3 days, like lightning and everything popping off. The first day we ran out, it was probably 6 a.m. We're riding out. River still dark, foggy. I trust my captain. Put up to our first spot to try to catch some red snapper.
Yeah.
As soon as he put that boat in neutral, 5 of us were hanging over the sides throwing up. I was the only one that wasn't. Like as we were riding out, we're all hanging on for dear life. Motors were coming out of the water every time we hit a wave. I mean, it got scary.
I bet it did, man.
Yeah. It won't be the last time. I've done that many, many times. Actually, my first real offshore trip was probably 2013 and 2014. I was in Panama City. I went down there with my friend for his family reunion, and they invited me to go. And then there just happened to be an actual tropical storm rolling through at that time. Like, Panama City Beach was underwater. My buddy's little brother was like, "Hey, you want to go fishing? You can go King Mackerel fishing tomorrow." I'm like, "Sure, why not? I ain't scared." Because it's a tropical storm. I was like, and? I mean, our boat was vertical all the way out of past the jetties. That was scary.
You're a brave one, man.
Yeah.
You are a brave one.
When you love it that much, it is what it is. I'd do it again. And again and again.
Hey man, ain't nothing wrong with that.
Well, it better be a hurricane, and that's the only thing that might keep me home.
I get that,
a hurricane,
man.
And like anything greater than 15-mile-per-hour winds. Speechless.
That's all I can say about that.
I mean, you'll find a hobby where you feel the same way, where you're like, "Oh, I gotta do it. I just need to." I love it so much.
No, I feel that, man.
Honestly, I think you did have that hobby back in the day. But we ain't gonna talk about that today. I think you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about, man.
Yeah. Conversation for another day.
A conversation for another day, indeed. On that note, man, I'm gonna switch gears. Empire for sure. Oh my gosh. Never again. That is definitely an episode for another day, and I definitely have a lot to say about that one for sure.
That's gonna be like episode like 45.
Oh yeah, for sure. Man, if we get to that point, I hope we get to the point where I can be that kind of vulnerable and share all those things.
Well, I mean, if you ever decide to get to that point, I hope I'm the one that gets to be there.
You know what? I'm gonna hold you to that. I think that's a good idea.
I mean, if you want to have other people, that's fine too. I just want to be included.
Of course. I think it'll be a real dope conversation where I think that's another thing that like people really don't necessarily talk about. You know what I'm saying? Like, people's experiences with relationships and like dynamics and how they've navigated them through the years and like lessons learned, all those different kind of things. And I think that would be a very interesting conversation to have. Like, because
I agree.
I think you, me, and probably some other people have different perspectives of it, and I can say I've learned a lot. I can definitely say I've learned a lot for sure.
Well, speaking of, did you know our high school reunion is this weekend? Next weekend?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, February 26th, I think.
What is it? That's 12 years?
It's more like 12-year reunion now.
Yeah, why are they doing a 12-year? Is it like a remake of the 10-year or something?
Well, they were supposed to do it last year, the 10-year or whatever.
Yeah.
But, COVID hit and they had to cancel it.
I don't know. Who's all supposed to be there? Is it just like stuff on Facebook?
Yeah, there's a Facebook group, but you don't have Facebook, so you're out of the loop.
True.
I remember telling you about it, though.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about it.
Well, I kind of forgot about it because, the whole transition into my new job and everything.
Are you going to go?
No, I'm working that night.
That sucks.
Yeah. Kayla Purvis is the one that actually texted me and was like, hey, I noticed your name wasn't on the list. I was like, yeah, I kind of forgot about it. She's like, well, if you still want to go, we can get you a ticket pretty easily. I'm like, well, let me check my schedule and see if I've got to work or not. And
Kayla
I do.
Purvis. That's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
Yeah. And, I'm starting a new job, so I don't want to take advantage of asking for days off.
Yeah.
I already asked for one day off this month.
Yeah. We getting old, man. We getting real old.
Yeah. And I happen to be working night shift that day, too, so... If I had been working day shift, then I would probably want to go. I could just leave a little early or get there late or something.
How does that work? You work day shifts and night shifts?
Yeah. Basically what I do is I'll work 3 or 4 days, then I'm off for a couple of days, then I work 3 or 4 nights and off a couple nights or days, whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
Like when I go back to work Friday, I work 4 nights straight. Then I'm off for 2 days, I believe. 2 or 3 days. Then I'll work 3 or 4 days. I think it's 3 days straight. Then I'm off. Then I'll do a night hitch.
Okay.
I mean, it takes getting used to. It's definitely not for everybody. Especially it really, honestly, to me, it does kind of test your relationship a little bit.
I bet it does.
Because that's actually that was one of the first things that my instructors at the school said. He was like, night shift is not for everybody. It'll definitely test you and test your relationship.
What's been the most testing side of it?
With me and Hannah, if I work a night shift, I'll get home at 6:30 in the morning, and she has to leave for work by 8:30, 9 o'clock. So as soon as I get home, I shower and I want to go to bed.
Yeah.
But basically I've been trying to stay up with her and hang out with her before she goes to work. Because by the time she gets home from work, I've already gone back for the night shift.
Yeah.
I go back at 5:30. So we can go 3 or 4 days without seeing each other basically.
Yeah.
And she stays at home and has to sleep by herself. Something, not everyone can get used to pretty easily. Especially when, you're used to being at home with someone every single night for X amount of years.
Yeah. No, I get that. I mean, it makes sense to me that you'll be willing to do whatever you have to do to make that time in. Cause just like you said, for the fishing, I mean, if you really love something or, really like something, you're like, ooh, I really need to do this, and you make it a priority. So it's just
that's what we say. We gotta, those days off that we are together, we try to make it a priority and do as, and just enjoy ourselves together with each other, not just run errands, do the day-to-day tasks,
Yeah.
Especially do something fun and meaningful.
Yeah.
We'll go, today we want to play golf. we went to church, went to lunch, and then we played a round of golf.
Yeah.
Another day we might, wake up, go eat lunch, and go see a movie or something. But of course, as long as the errands that we need to run are done first.
Yeah.
Or like if she's off and I'm working, she'll try to get all her errands run. Or if I'm off and she's working, I'll try to get all my errands done. So that when we are off together, we can pretty much commit to just each other.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? No,
I get exactly what you're saying.
So it's like basically like you just got to find a system that works.
Right.
It's never, I don't think it's ever going to be like just fully easy, but it's just going to get better.
Mm.
And like she was asking me like, how are you, okay with being away like this? I was like, told her like I made my peace with this before I signed up for school.
Mm-hmm.
I knew what I was getting into. I knew what I was signing up for. That's why I'm okay with it. And I like even before getting the job, like for the past year, I've been trying to like, hinting to her and telling her, I was like, there's gonna be once I start shift schedule, I'm going to be away for a couple nights a week, or some weeks I'll be away for a couple nights, and for other weeks I won't be.
Yeah,
she's getting used to it, honestly, because the first shift I started was actually a night shift, so I was gone for 4 nights straight. And honestly, that was rough. That was rough on me too. But I mean, we got through it. Like I say, it's like when we're together, those days we're all off and we can spend time together, we try to make the most of it.
I'm really happy for you, man.
Thank you. That means a lot.
I can tell you're in a really good place.
And I'm glad to hear that you found the same type of happiness. Sounds like you're happy where you are or where you're going.
Yeah. No, that's for sure. That's for sure.
I mean, that's what we've been talking about since, we were younger.
Exactly. Well, man, I'm gonna switch over to these lightning questions real quick and let you get back to your day. How's that sound?
All right, sounds good.
All right. We kind of talked about this already, but we can go ahead and start with this. What's your favorite relaxation or self-care activity?
100% fishing.
For sure.
100%, no questions asked. There's nothing like just either getting out on a boat or sitting on a pier, and just watching the water, listening to the waves. It's like, that's just it. There's nothing else like it.
I agree with you, man. What's your best book recommendation?
My best book?
Mm-hmm.
Harry Potter.
I feel you. Haven't heard that one yet. I love it.
I have not read a real book unless I had to since probably 6th grade AR reading. Honestly, I now that I do have more time where I can read, I do want to get back into reading.
Okay.
I just haven't, gone that far yet to do it, but I want to.
Okay.
So, I mean, that might be the next thing I work on.
Okay. Sounds good, man. And one person you want to thank for your journey thus far?
One person I want to thank, Hannah.
Oh,
100%. Man. She's the one that's been outside of my family, honestly, especially my mom, my dad. She's been the most supportive of me making this big life change, going back to school, helping me find this. She didn't really help me find the job, but she was supportive.
Yeah.
Whether me preparing for my interview, helping me prepare my resume, things like that.
Yeah.
She did what she could do, which, I mean, she doesn't know anything about this career path. So she helped where she could. She practiced interview questions with me, things like that.
Yeah. That's good, man. I love to hear it.
And honestly, she is the one that I tell her all the time. It's like, I did this not just for me, but I did it for us and for her, because she's the one that I want to be better for.
I feel that, man. I feel that. Well, man, I really hope that you have a great rest of your day. And once again, I thank you for being on the show.
Yes, sir. It was my pleasure.
All right. This has been another episode of Don't Be Coy with Unkle Lew. As always, I'd like to thank this episode's guest for a great conversation, as well as thank you, the listener, for joining in. Whether you're a first-time listener or a regular, I always appreciate your support. If you like today's episode and ever want to listen to more, subscribe to our show on Apple Podcasts, Audible, Google Podcasts, or Spotify. And to join our community and access future bonus content, be sure to visit dbkpodcast.com.